The night everything broke. It's strange how the softest nichts can carry the loudest heartbreaks.
The night it happened, the world looked calm. City lights shimmered over Los Angeles like tiny diamonds scattered across black silk. But inside me, something was cracking, quietly, violently. I still remember the scent of jasmine from the balcony.
The air was cool, gentle.
And I stood there, wine glass in hand, waiting for my fiancé Ryan to return from work drinks. He'd promised he wouldn't be late. But promises, as I learned that night, are fragile things. The phone buzzed.
A message from my best friend, Emily.
Hey babe, I'm just heading home from the office. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. She always added exclamation marks, like sugar coating on a poisoned truth. Emily and I had been inseparable since college. Roommates, sisters by heart. She was the kind who could make anyone trust her. Including me. Including Ryan. That night, when Ryan didn't answer my calls, I told myself he must be tired.
But the universe doesn't let you ignore the truth for long.
At 11:42 p.m., it arrived, a notification that changed everything.
A tagged photo.
Ryan and Emily. Together. At a downtown rooftop bar, her hand on his chest, his lips far too close to hers. The caption read, "Unexpected nights are the best ones." My hands shook so violently the wine spilled across my white dress, staining it deep red, like a wound. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I stared at their faces glowing on the screen, my heart thudding like it was trying to break out of my chest. The girl I'd trusted with every secret had stolen the man I thought would be my forever. I didn't cry. Not then. Not yet. Instead, something colder moved through me, not sadness but silence.
The kind of the lengse zet groß before a storm.
The next morning, I walked into Emily's office, the same place where she and I had built our marketing firm from scratch. She looked up from her desk, startled, her blue eyes flickering with guilt she tried to hide behind a fake smile. "Oh my God, Ava," she started, but I didn't let her finish. I placed my engagement ring on her desk. The diamond caught the morning light, gleaming like it was mocking me. "He's all yours," I said softly. She froze. Maybe she expected screaming, chaos, maybe even tears. But I gave her none. I just walked away, my heels clicking across the polished floor like punctuation marks in the ending of a friendship. 2 weeks later, the world watched their engagement post go viral, the same diamond ring now on her finger. I saw the comments, the hearts, the congratulations. People called them a perfect couple. And I disappeared. I left the firm, the apartment, the city. I went to my mother's cabin near Lake Arrowhead, a place where no one knew my story. Days passed like blurred photographs. The forest was quiet, too quiet. But pain doesn't stay buried. It breathes, it plots, it whispers. It was there in that silence that I decided I wouldn't let them write the final chapter of my story. Because betrayal isn't the end. It's the beginning of something colder, sharper, more deliberate. They had taken my love, my trust, my life. But I still had one thing they didn't know how to handle: patience. And patience, when mixed with pain, can become a weapon. As I stood by the lake that evening, wind brushing my hair, I whispered to the reflection of a woman I barely recognized anymore. "You took everything from me, Emily. Now it's my turn." And that was the night Ava died, and the woman who would ruin them both was born. The return of Ava. 1 year. That's how long I stayed gone. Long enough for the gossip to fade, for their wedding photos to collect digital dust under old hashtags. When I left Los Angeles, I was a woman broken. But when I came back, I was something else entirely. The cabin had stripped me down to the bone. Every day, I rebuilt myself with silence, with discipline, with rage refined into purpose. Ava, the girl who once cried over betrayal, was gone. Now, I moved like a ghost, calm, precise, calculating. The first thing I did was change my look. My once soft curls were now sleek and dark, cut sharp around my face. I traded pastel dresses for tailored blazers and heels that could kill if I wanted them to. Every inch of me became a symbol of control. When I finally stepped back into the city, the skyline didn't intimidate me anymore. It felt like a chessboard, and I was ready to make my move. Ryan and Emily had turned our company, Ava and Company, into Alien Marketing. G. A fusion of their names, Emily and Ryan. The audacity made me smile. They'd erased me from the logo, the website, even the company story. As if I'd never existed. But ghosts have their own ways of haunting. I created a new identity, Evelyn Black, a quiet investor with an eye for emerging marketing talent. With a new name, new number, and a carefully crafted digital footprint, I built a portfolio strong enough to attract them. And soon enough, an email appeared in my inbox. Hi Evelyn, we'd love to discuss potential collaboration opportunities with Alien Marketing. Let's set up a meeting this week. Emily Thompson, CEO. Sir. That title once belonged to me. The meeting was at their downtown office, glass walls, luxury furniture, and a view of the skyline I'd once dreamed of. I arrived 15 minutes early, intentionally. I wanted them to see me before they were ready.
Emily walked in first.
For a moment, she didn't recognize me. The hair, the posture, the new tone of my presence. But then I saw it. That flicker in her eyes. That split second of realization. Ava. She whispered. I smiled.
It's Evelyn now.
Her expression faltered, then quickly morphed into that familiar fake warmth. Wow, you look amazing. I didn't know you were back in town. Just business, I replied smoothly. I heard Alien Marketing was expanding. Thought I could help. Ryan walked in moments later, holding a cup of coffee. His face still carried that same careless confidence I once mistook for charm. When he saw me, he froze, guilt flashing across his eyes like a crack in glass. But I didn't give him the satisfaction of emotion. We sat. We talked numbers, campaigns, investments. The entire time, I played the role perfectly, professional, composed, untouchable. They didn't know I already had their financial records, client data, and tax reports. Every vulnerability they'd hidden, I'd already mapped. Because while they built their empire, I'd been building their downfall. After the meeting, Emily tried to hug me. It's so good to see you again, she lied. I leaned in just enough to whisper. I'm not here to see you, Emily. I'm here to watch you.
She blinked, confused, nervous.
But I was already gone. That night, I stood outside their penthouse from across the street, watching the lights flicker through their glass windows. They looked perfect from afar. Love, laughter, champagne. But I knew something they didn't. Perfection always has a crack. And I was about to become that crack, the one that spreads until everything beautiful collapses. Because revenge, I'd learned, isn't about anger. It's about precision. And I had both.
The web I vove. Revenge I lienet, lut.
It's a whisper, patient, meticulous, beautiful in its cruelty. The first step was simple. Control their world from the shadows. Using my new identity as Evelyn Black, I invested quietly through shell companies, gaining influence over vendors and clients tied to Alien Marketing. I knew how the system worked. I'd built it, after all. And one by one, I began pulling the strings. I watched as contracts started slipping away. A client withdrew here, a supplier delayed there. Emily began to panic, the flawless CEO cracking beneath invisible pressure. Meanwhile, Ryan did what Ryan always did best, blamed her. I'd seen this before. He had once blamed me too, for his own failures. Now, their late-night arguments echoed through the office walls, whispered among the staff. It wasn't enough to destroy them financially. I wanted to dismantle their image, the perfect couple, the power duo everyone envied. So I reached out to a journalist friend, Lena, someone who owed me a favor. I gave her a story, fabricated just enough to look real, about Alien Marketing's unethical campaign practices and insider manipulation. The article dropped within a week, complete with anonymous sources. It went viral. Their reputation tanked overnight. Emily tried to spin it, going on podcasts, posting heartfelt videos about transparency and integrity. But the public smelled guilt. And Ryan, too proud to stay quiet, threw her under the bus in a press statement, blaming her leadership for their downfall. Every headline became another crack in their fairy tale. And as they fought to save what was left, I moved closer, pretending to help, offering investor advice and crisis PR solutions. I watched Emily unravel, day by day. Her eyes lost their brightness, her voice trembled in meetings, her confidence fading into self-doubt. It should have been enough. But it wasn't. Because revenge only truly satisfies when it reaches the heart, and hers was still beating next to Ryan's. So, I aimed there next. I discovered something Ryan didn't want anyone to know, a hidden gambling addiction buried beneath fake expense reports. I'd seen those patterns before. Late-night withdrawals.
Empty business accounts.
He'd once promised me he'd changed. He hadn't. One carefully timed email to a private investigator, and his secret was ready to surface. Soon, whispers began circling the office, rumors of missing funds, falsified invoices, unpaid taxes. The IRS came knocking, and Emily, loyal to the man she stole, took the fall. Watching her sit across from me in a cafe days later, begging for advice, was almost poetic. "Everything's collapsing, Evelyn," she said, tears trembling in her eyes.
"I don't know what's happening.
"It's like the universe is punishing me." I looked at her for a long moment, sipping my coffee, keeping my voice soft. "Maybe it's not the universe," I said quietly. "Maybe it's just justice catching up."
Her lips parted slightly. A flicker of confusion, fear.
Something inside her knew. But she couldn't prove it. That night, as I walked home through the rain, I passed a billboard, one that once displayed alien marketing slogan, "We create futures." Now it stood blank, faded, forgotten. I stopped, staring up at it as raindrops trickled down my face. They had created my downfall. And now I had rewritten theirs. But what I didn't realize then, was that my web had started catching me too.
Because when you live in revenge too long, it stops feeling like victory.
It starts feeling like hunger.
And hunger never ends. The Fall of Emily.
By winter, Los Angeles had turned gray, not from weather but from silence. The same city that once sparkled around Emily now whispered behind her back. Her company was under investigation, clients gone, Ryan missing most nights. The empire she stole from me had become a collapsing tower of glass, every lie she'd built cracking under pressure. And I watched every second of it. Sometimes from across the street, sometimes from behind a phone screen. Her life had become a slow-motion movie of regret, and I was its director. But revenge isn't as sweet as the movies promise. It's cold. It seeps into your bloodstream until you can't tell where justice ends and obsession begins. I saw her one evening sitting alone outside a cafe, wrapped in an oversized coat, her hair unwashed, makeup smudged.
No entourage, no confidence, no sparkle.
Just Emily, the girl who once stole my fiancé, now looking like a stranger to herself. She didn't notice me at first. I approached quietly, my heels slicing through the cold air. When she looked up, her eyes widened, not in anger this time, but something softer. Guilt, maybe. Or exhaustion.
"Evelyn."
"I mean, Ava," she whispered, voice trembling. "I know it was you."
The words hung tere, heavy between us.
I didn't deny it.
I just tilted my head, curious.
And what if it was? Her eyes filled with tears.
"You got what you wanted.
You destroyed everything.
I lost the company Ryan's gone, and I can't sleep anymore."
I stayed silent, watching her break in front of me, the same way I once had. But instead of joy, I felt something else rising inside me.
So meeting darker.
Pity. "Do you know why I did it, Emily?" I asked softly. "Because I wanted you to feel what betrayal tastes like. The bitterness, the disbelief, the hollow ache that doesn't go away." She nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I do," she whispered.
Every single day.
For a moment, neither of us spoke. The world around us blurred, traffic, noise, people.
Just two broken women sharing the same silence.
Then she said something I wasn't ready for. Ryan left me. He drained my accounts and ran off. I tried to forgive myself, but I think I deserve this. Her voice cracked. "I stole from you. And in the end, he stole from me." It was poetic justice, almost too perfect. But hearing her say it out loud didn't bring peace. It brought emptiness. As she sobbed quietly, I realized something that shook me. I wasn't just avenging my heartbreak anymore. I had become addicted to control, to watching others crumble under the weight of my silence. And maybe that made me worse than her. That night, I went home and stood in front of the mirror, staring at the woman who stared back. Sleek hair, cold eyes, perfect posture, but no warmth, no light. I'd built my revenge so perfectly that I'd forgotten to build a life beyond it. The next morning, a headline hit the news. Former CEO Emily Thompson hospitalized after breakdown. I froze, the phone trembling in my hand. Was this victory? Was this what I'd wanted all along? I sat on the edge of my bed for hours, staring out the window at a city that didn't care who won or lost. The rain fell softly, washing over the streets like it was trying to clean the mess we'd all made. For the first time in months, I cried, not for Ryan, not for Emily, but for the version of myself I'd buried. Because revenge had taken everything, and given me nothing. But as my tears dried, something inside whispered again, not guilt, not regret, but unfinished business. Ryan was still out there. And if Emily's fall was karma, his would be consequence. Because he didn't just steal love. He built lies, and I wasn't done burning them yet. The end of Ryan. Ryan always thought he was untouchable, the charming manipulator, the man who could twist hearts and truth until no one could tell the difference. But the thing about men like him? They never see the storm until it's already above them. When I began tracing his financial trail, I found everything I needed. He hadn't just left Emily, he'd stolen from her. Over $200,000 siphoned from Alien Marketing's accounts before the collapse. He had vanished after the investigation began, but I knew where to look. Ryan had always loved luxury. And luxury always leaves breadcrumbs. 2 weeks later, I found him, in Miami, living under a fake name, working as a consultant for a startup that was just another scam in disguise. He looked different, tan, confident, the same smile that once melted my heart. But behind that smile was rot. I booked a flight. When I walked into that beachfront restaurant where he was meeting investors, his jaw nearly dropped. He tried to hide it behind that charming grin. Ava, he said smoothly, you look. Don't, I cut him off.
You don't get to say my Name anymore.
He laughed nervously, motioning for me to sit. If this is about Emily, she already. It's not about Emily, I interrupted, voice steady. It's about what you owe. He leaned back, that arrogant smirk returning.
Jure still bitte.
It's been a year, Ava. Move on. Move on. 2 words that burned hotter than any insult. I placed a folder on the table. Documents, statements, screenshots. Evidence of his theft, fraud, tax evasion.
Ever dirty secret ti togeter in von need package.
He flipped through the pages, his expression shifting from confidence to disbelief, then fear. Where did you get this? He asked quietly. I built the company, remember? I said.
You think he wouldn't leave a back door open?
He swallowed hard, eyes darting around the cafe.
What do you want?
Justice, I whispered.
Not revenge, just balance.
He exhaled sharply.
You won't go to the police.
You're not that kind of person. I smiled, calm, unshakable. You're right. I'm worse. That evening, every file, every transaction, every offshore account detail landed in the inbox of federal investigators. Anonymous delivery. Untraceable. Within a month, Ryan's world imploded. His assets were frozen, his fake company exposed, and his face splashed across news sites under headlines like former CEO charged in multi-state fraud case. Emily recovered slowly, rebuilding her life away from him. Volunteering, working quietly, living without pretense. I never spoke to her again, but sometimes I'd see her name in charity lists, helping women who'd been deceived. Maybe she finally understood what pain had taught me. And me? I sold the last of my shares, deleted Evelyn Black, and left Los Angeles again. This time, not to disappear, but to begin. Some nights, I still dream of that rooftop photo, the one that started it all. Ryan's arm around Emily, her smile wide, mine erased from the frame. It used to haunt me. Now, it reminds me. That sometimes losing everything is what saves you. Because I didn't just steal her future.
I reclaimed mina.
As I drove along the coast one golden evening, sunlight spilling through my car window, I finally understood what freedom really meant. Not forgetting the past, but owning it. Every scar, every betrayal, every choice led here, to this moment of peace that didn't need vengeance anymore. And as the ocean roared beside me, I whispered to the wind, not with anger but gratitude. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Ryan. You broke me. And that's exactly how I found my strength. The sunset bled into the horizon, painting the sky in colors I hadn't seen in years. And for the first time, I smiled, not because I'd won, but because I'd finally let go. A story of betrayal, justice, and rebirth, because sometimes revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about rebuilding yourself from the ashes they left behind.